I'm Justin Mott, and welcome to my home in Hanoi, Vietnam. And if you're new here, I'm going to give you my little bio, because I notice when I do, I get a lot more subscribers. Sorry, my regular viewers here. I'm going to do it quickly. I've shot over 100 assignments for the New York Times around the world. I own and operate my own commercial photography and video production company called Mott Visuals, based here in Vietnam and working globally. I'm a Leica user, I'm a wildlife photojournalist, and I hosted a photography-based reality TV show on History Channel Asia for over 5 years. You've probably never heard of it. Enough about me. Let's get into today's topic, which is self-portraits. I know you're gonna say right away, what? Documentary photographer, wildlife photojournalist? Why are you taking pictures of yourself? You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to point the camera other ways. Well, today I'm gonna tell you why self-portraits can benefit all levels of photographers in all genres of photography, because it will just enhance your skills as a photographer. It will make you better. You're just gonna have to stay tuned to see how it will make you better. Today I'll be using the Leica Q2 here, and this was loaned to me in a collaboration I'm doing with Leica Vietnam and Leica Singapore. And just to be transparent, I asked them to borrow a bunch of equipment that I'm interested in so I could test it out. No stipulations, no money was exchanged, no products were exchanged. Okay. I did get a hat, but I'm wearing my hat, not their hat. And while I will show you a couple features about this camera that are very helpful when doing self-portraits, this will not be a camera review at all. This is about self-portraits, but I will have a full camera review further down the road when I get a chance to test this bad boy a little bit more. Okay, self-portraits, I know, right? You're skeptical. I know you guys right now, you have your finger on another video. You're about to click. You're about to go away like, this isn't Justin. This isn't Leica. This isn't documentary. This isn't street photography. Hear me out. There are many benefits of doing self-portraits. So before I show you my process and show you some of my pictures, I'm gonna tell you about those benefits. First, practice makes you better. Practice at anything makes you better. Same thing goes for photography. Practicing your craft will make you better. So doing self-portraits is simple. You don't need anything. There's no excuses. It's as simple as having a camera, having a tripod, or just somewhere to leave your camera, and having yourself. But there's more. Another great reason is to see what it's like to be on the other side of the camera. It's very beneficial. I know most of you didn't get into this to be on the other side of the camera. If you're like me, you prefer to be shooting, obviously, not to be modeling, although I've done my fair share of modeling. No, I haven't. I've done stand-ins for myself. Do you do stand-ins for your own self-portraits? That would be funny, doing a stand-in. Just being on the other side of the camera gives you some insight in what it's like to be on the other side of the camera. So it helps with things like how long to have someone sit in like really harsh light. What's it like to look in direct light? What's it like to be in the heat? How often should you be communicating with your subject? How hard is it to get a certain expression or certain mood out of them when you ask them? So when you're practicing self-portraits and you're trying all these different things about your posture and how long you're staying still and how often you need direction, just be thinking about those things and taking mental notes of those things. So then when you're asking someone to do that, whether it's a bride portrait, whether it's a street portrait, whether it's a studio portrait, you will learn what it's like to be on the other side, and those will help you with your communication skills when you're photographing a subject or a model. Another good reason is just so you can practice your body position, your posture, and your expressions, you know, to see what you like when you're photographing people. So when you're saying to someone to smile, what is it like? Is it like this? Or do you want a more natural smile? The more you know how to do that, the better you can coach it to someone else, you know, and you can also practice the human form and how it fits within a frame, right? Do you like to be close to your subject? Do you like to be farther back? If so, why? What's the distance between you and the camera? What are the positions with the body? Is it always straight on? Is it off to the side? So practicing these postures just gives you more options later on when you're asking people to pose, because not everyone is working with a professional model that can do really good poses, and not all professional models, no offense, there's a lot of great professional models out there, but there's a lot of models there that need full direction. They don't have a bunch of different poses, so you're gonna need to have those in your mind. Self-portraits is also good for shy people, which might sound weird because people that are shy typically don't want to photograph themselves. But hear me out, I was actually shy in the beginning. I'm not now, but I was shy when I started photographing people. I was shy taking pictures of other people, communicating with them, talking to them. So self-portraits will give you reps, it will give you practice, and the practice will give you confidence, and that confidence will lead to you being less shy when you're approaching people or directing people. Another great reason or time to do self-portraits is when you get a new camera or you're thinking about getting a new camera. So you borrowed a camera, testing one out, like I'm going to be doing, testing this Leica Q2 out. It's a great way to get familiar with the camera. It's a great way to test it without all the pressure that goes along with a paid shoot, right? So I can work out all the details, figure out how I like to customize the camera, figure out all the functions, all the technical aspects of the camera, you know, doing self-portraits, you can figure it out without any of that pressure of a paid shoot. Then when you go to do the shoot, you know the camera inside and out, you're not fumbling around, you're not making any mistakes there. And lastly, it's a very simple way to get through a slump. You are not alone if you're going through a slump in your photography. We all go through it, myself included. Whether it's a downtime for business, you've just been slow, whether you just launched your business and just getting things started, and you don't have all the shoots that you thought you'd get, now is the time to practice. Or if you're just like me and you're stuck in lockdown, you miss activating the photography part of your brain, which for me, it's kind of all of my brain, that's what I think about most of the time. You know, it's easy to get down. It's easy to get bummed out. When I can't go out and shoot, when I can't go shoot my stories, and I can't shoot my commercial work, it's a bummer. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's a bummer. So this is a great time to just activate that part of your brain, to stay busy, to stay creative, to just stay active as a photographer. Every time you're shooting, you are learning new things. Whether or not you get a great picture in that moment, that doesn't matter. You'll probably learn something that you're gonna use later on down the road. So let's start with the gear. Like I mentioned before, I'm gonna be using this Leica Q2 here. And while this is known to most people as a street photography camera or an everyday camera or travel camera, something like that, I'm gonna be using it for portraits. And do portraits with that camera? Yes, I am, and I'm also gonna be doing wide angle portraits. Just a little note there for all you guys out there. Camera companies tend to market to the masses, they tend to market to bulk, and I like to consider myself different. I don't like to consider myself in that bulk, and I like to use equipment the way I like to use it, not the way that it's targeted for me to use. So I tend to look at stuff, I look at specs, and then I make my own assessment on how or if I would use that camera or equipment. And I encourage you guys to do the same. This camera comes with a fixed 28mm 1.7 lens. It's a fantastic lens, but it's a 47 megapixel sensor, so it does allow you to crop in. As you crop in, you do lose overall quality of the image. Even when it's cropped the most, it's still good enough quality to print. So this has the option to shoot at 28, 35, 50, and 75. So a lot of you are gonna say right away, oh, you're probably gonna use the 50 and the 75 for portraits. You're wrong. No, I'm gonna use the 28mm because I like to shoot my portraits horizontal. I am not a vertical person, I'm a horizontal person. Nothing wrong with vertical portraits, it just doesn't suit my style. I just like to shoot horizontal because I like environmental portraits, but I also like to play around with negative space, and that's what I'm gonna use it more for today. So in addition to this camera, I'll be using the Leica Photos app, which is really, really intuitive, and it actually is quite convenient for what I'm doing today, which is self-portrait. So the app allows you to trigger the camera remotely, yes, but you can also change the exposure, and you can also do touchscreen focus on your phone, which really does come in handy. So the way I work in my process, and a lot of this relates to portraits in general, not just to self-portraits, is the first thing I'm gonna think about is a theme or a concept that I'm trying to capture. It could be a lot of different things. You can be creative. It's your own self-portraits. You don't have to show them to the world, whatever you want to capture. It can be a characteristic about yourself, a personality trait. It could be a physical trait. It could be just a mood in general. It could be an emotion, whatever you want it to be. Just give it some thought, give that some deep thought first, and then everything else will fall into place. So for me personally, I was thinking about, okay, I've done self-portraits before, but what could I capture? I'm not really like into myself visually, so don't think I'm doing this because I'm a narcissist or that I love myself. I don't. I mean, I love myself, I just don't visually love myself. I know I'm not like cool looking, I know I'm not handsome, I know I'm not sexy, I don't have like an awesome body or anything like that. I'm very well aware of those things. You don't have to mention those in the comment section. Because I'm doing self-portraits, I was thinking about what can I capture about myself, what's interesting to me. And I have some tattoos, and don't worry, I'm not gonna be a douche and tell you like all the meanings of my tattoos and stuff like that. I just thought like it would be nice to capture some of my tattoos. I've got a lot of tattoos in the last few years. I have a lot of ideas for new tattoos coming up. So I thought just for me, well, I guess for you guys too, I thought it would be nice to capture those tattoos and highlight those tattoos. So for me, it's as simple as that. I wanted to get nice pictures of my tattoos, but since I'm not really into my body and myself and that kind of stuff, I wanted to isolate myself. So that's my theme. I want to take isolated shots of my tattoos and highlight them, but also keep a little bit of the human form in there. I didn't want like boring, just like a detail shot of the tattoo. So I didn't go shirtless. I wore a tank top because I have a tattoo on my arm. And so the idea here was to highlight the tattoos and show myself, show the human form, but not really highlight me. So you're not gonna see a lot of my face in there, my expressions. It's really just to highlight the tattoos themselves. Okay, so I've got my concept. It's simple and clear, right? Visually simple and clear. I wanna highlight my tattoos, not highlight myself, but really highlight the tattoos. And then I wanna create a mood to it. And that mood's gonna be a little bit dark. Some of my tattoos are quite dark, not just like because they're black ink, but they have a dark meaning. Some are happy, but just because I'm kind of just in a dark mood right now, a little bit, I'm happy overall, but a little bit of a dark mood being in lockdown for so long here in Vietnam. So I want that to come through. So I've got my concept and now I've got my mood. The next thing I'm gonna think about is how to capture, how to convey that mood. And since I'm not doing it with my expressions, because like I said, I'm not gonna be showing you my face much in these shots, I'm going to do that through light. So I've got two choices. I can use natural light or artificial light. Now, artificial light does have its benefits because I'm not beholden to where the sun hits and the background it hits and at the time it hits, and I can control the intensity and the direction and all that stuff through modifiers, but I just truly love natural light. I love the beauty of natural light, and I also like to work within those parameters that natural light presents. I like to work that way. I think that's my editorial documentary background. I like a situation to present itself, and then I like to break it down and find images within that light. So for me, I want high contrasty, moody light. Now that's gonna present a little bit of a challenge because I'm photographing inside my house. I can't go anywhere because of lockdown, so I'm limited to my house. Luckily for me, I do have some beautiful light that comes into my house at about 3 p.m. Creates these really interesting shadows as it comes through my windows, and I have a very simple backdrop of my concrete walls. So that's gonna be my canvas. That's where I'm gonna do all my shooting within that particular light and that light alone. So that's another note for you guys out there, just about light in general. When I've done my one-on-one portfolio reviews, I've seen a lot of you lacking that beautiful light in your shots, or if you got great portraits or great interesting people, but the light's bad. A little piece of advice I would tell you is always be taking mental notes of light, whether that's you're shooting a wedding and you're gonna pull the bride aside. Before you pull her aside, have an idea of where the light is, have an idea of the picture you wanna make within that light, and then approach the person. The same thing goes for street photography as well. And then, yeah, just in general in the city I live in too, like when I look around, when I travel around my bike, I'm taking mental notes or sometimes physical notes, and I'll write stuff down like that place at that time. It's a great backdrop. So then later on I'll have an assignment, like I remember doing a shoot for Forbes, and I had to do, you know, shots of a business person, but on the streets of Vietnam. So like I had these great locations already picked out. I knew the exact location, when the light hit those, and the colors of the backdrop, so I knew what to ask them to wear as well. So like those little things are very, very important. So always be building that Rolodex. So the next thing for me to think about is color or black and white. And for this series, it was very easy. I chose to go black and white because I know that contrasting light there is really, really interesting to me. I know I want to make it really heavy contrast. I don't want the details in the shadows. The shadows aren't important to me. The important part is highlighting the tattoos and creating a mood with the light. And also having it in black and white will create a nice, consistent, cohesive series, something I'm also always thinking about. So I chose to go with black and white. Cool thing here, if your camera can do this, the Leica has a black and white color profile feature, so I just put that on black and white, and that allows me to see things in real time, which is very, very helpful. You don't have to do it that way. A lot of people can pre-visualize black and white, but it just does help to see it in real time. If your camera can do that setting and you plan to shoot in black and white, just change your setting to black and white. So I've got my color or my lack of color profile, I've got my light figured out, I've got my concept figured out, all ready to go. The next thing I'm gonna think about is my composition. Now, the mistake a lot of people make when they're doing a series, a self-portrait series, they kind of stay in the same composition. Or if you're photographing the same thing, a lot of people think, oh, to make it cohesive, I'll just photograph your tattoos in all the same compositions. That gets boring, it gets repetitive. So for me, I'm always trying to balance those two things, right? I'm thinking about making it cohesive as a series. How do I do that stylistically? But also that each picture is different enough that it doesn't get too repetitive and too boring. So some people can do that with different lenses and moving around a lot. For me, I'm gonna do that by changing my distance with the camera and changing my compositions. So I've got the consistency of the black and white, the consistency of the same light pattern, the consistency of the 28mm, but I'm going to change my distance within the frame. I'm going to move around to create different compositions to break it up so that this works as a series and so that it's, again, not so redundant. So I set my camera up in the tripod, got it all in place, got the backdrop I want. Then I just looked for light within that backdrop. I kept it all in the same place, but there was different little specks of light all over. And then what I would do in the way that I approached this was to put the tattoo that I wanted to feature within that light to highlight the tattoo, and then change my body and move around in different compositions. So each tattoo I would put in the light, I would move around, I would change, I would just see what was working. It would have been hard to do full body shots with the app because you'd see the camera in the shot. So luckily for me, I don't have any tattoos on my lower body, so I could hold it off frame. So if you're shooting your whole body, you probably would need a timer. You couldn't have the phone there. You'd have to be creative with a phone and a timer or something like that. So once I found the light, similar lighting conditions, natural light coming in, I would put my tattoo within that light, and then I would change my composition. So playing around the distance between myself and the camera. I like these sort of challenges because it does make me think outside of my normal compositions, helps me experiment with the human form and how it fits within the background of the world. So that's just the way I like to work. I like to create a scene with light, whether I'm using artificial light or natural light. I like to create that scene, but then I don't really pre-visualize my compositions that much. I like to work in real time. I like to work in the moment. I think that's just my background in documentary photography and my background in photojournalism. For you commercial photographers out there or photographers that that just work differently that way, that's fine. Whatever works for you. Pre-visualize some of my shots, but most of these shots you see here are gonna come in real time in the moment because that's just the way that I like to work. It's just the way that my brain thinks. And so that's my entire process. That's kind of how I do it. That's how I do self-portraits, and a lot of those things, like I said, they also relate to portraits in general. I like to think through the concept ahead of time, then I like to think about the light and the mood I'm trying to create with that light, and I try to think about what I'm trying to capture, the emotion, the posture, or for this situation, just the details. I like to think deeply about what I want people to feel when they see these images, what kind of emotions I want to come through, what kind of questions I want to leave them with, or what kind of questions do I want to answer. Then I think about how to accomplish that with different lighting techniques, different exposures, different compositions, and things like that. So in the end, I had a lot of fun. I'm happy with the outcome, happy with the performance of the camera. Again, like I said, I'll do a full review on this Leica Q2 later on. A lot of people don't think of this as a portrait camera, but I had a lot of fun doing portraits and a lot of fun using the Leica Photos app. I found it very beneficial for doing self-portraits. So for me, I did very, very little toning on these. Again, I set the color profile to black and white, and then I just added a little bit more contrast, and I did so with purpose. You guys should always tone with purpose. Don't just tone a certain way because you think it's cool. Tone with purpose. For me, I didn't have any interest in the details in the shadows. I wanted that stark, heavy contrast, and that's why I toned accordingly. So have purpose when you tone. Think about the mood. Think about your concept. Think about the message that you want to convey. So that's my process, guys. I hope that was helpful to you. I hope you learned something today. I encourage you all to embark on a self-portrait series. You don't have to share it with the world. You don't have to make it public like me, but just do it for yourself. Do it to enhance your photography skills. Just do it to have a little bit of fun with your photography, or just to practice, or to get through a slump. All the reasons I explained, just open up your mind to it and try it out. I guarantee you're gonna have a lot of fun doing it. So I'll leave you guys here with some of my favorite images along with the metadata for those images, because I found a lot of you are interested in that kind of stuff. If you guys have any specific questions about any of these photos, or you just have any questions about self-portraits in general, you can ask me in the comments section. Thank you guys for tuning in today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful day.